You are now behind enemy lines. Hey there, how you doing, everybody? Gene Berardelli, Ross Galloway with you. Ross, what's up, bro?
What's going on, man? We both got in like at the nick of time. I should say.
Yeah, it's not even the nick of time. It's like the NI of time. But we made it. But we made it. I was gonna go a little further than that, but I realized where I was, so I wasn't
Yeah,
gonna do
be
that.
careful with that.
Yeah,
We,
you
we
gotta be careful
know,
with that, man. How you
we
doing?
know
What's going
Gene
on?
Berardelli is the master of race relations.
I took the title from you? Oh my goodness! No, I didn't.
Oh, I know. I am the master of race
Yeah,
relations. So
thank you very much. Yes,
correct.
that is the truth right there. Oh, well, to be frank, it's been a rush of a day for me all day.
What happened?
Yeah, well, today was my nephew Marcos's confirmation, so I was on Godfather duty all day. And it was a lovely ceremony. It was great. I'll put some pictures up later in our community tab here on the channel. But yeah, it was a lovely time. But
So he's officially in the cult.
he's
Welcome
an
aboard.
adult. He's an adult, and he bought in of his own volition.
The
So
cult, not adult. Cult.
same thing. Adult in a cult. But he's whatever it may be. He is fully in. He's all in. He's pledged his life and his soul and all that other fun stuff. So he's all good to go there. But it
Very
was
nice.
it was quite
Congrats.
nice. It was quite nice. And Mrs. Galloway actually sent a lovely little note on the Facebooks
Very
to
nice.
congratulate
Very
him.
nice.
So we obviously anything that comes from her also comes from you. So I guess you are congratulating as well. So glad to see you come around.
Thank you.
There you go. Oh yeah, but other than that, it's been a crazy week in politics, but not so much today. And I'm trying to cobble together a show here, and it's like rubbing two sticks together to like get a spark. I got a bunch of different things we can talk about. And I'm gonna leave it as Galloway's choice, I guess.
All right.
So here are your two choices for our two segments. Choice number one, we're gonna discuss the interview with Donald Trump and ABC News, and we're going to do a couple of bonus clips of things that I didn't talk about on the morning show, or we can talk about the two dumbest Democrats fighting against each other, that being David Hogg and James Carville. One-on-one, mano y mano, sicko y sicko.
Let's go with ABC interview. I'm a little disappointed you didn't pick the sit-in on the Capitol stairs with those two homos from New York and New Jersey. But all right.
Okay, you know what? Great. But what can I do with 12 hours of people sitting on the steps? What kind of entertainment value does that give our audience?
Cory Booker, a man's man. We'll leave it at that. But let's go to ABC.
He was very proud of himself by sitting in the same place for 12 hours outside on a lovely day, not a cloud in the sky.
Singing songs. It was fucking hard to watch.
Look at all we accomplished. It was crazy. So, I mean, we got a couple of different topics, lots of little topics, lots of little things going on. Yeah, I don't know what to pick here. I do know that before we get to whatever we're going to be doing right now, I'm going to ask everybody to please subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss any other shows. And if you like what you see and hear in this or any other video on the channel, smash that thumbs up button. Especially if you're watching live right now, we need more people getting on the like button for us. That would be really, really helpful. Spreads the word of the show as we're live. But of course, like, share the show with your friends, all that good stuff to help us grow. We've gotten quite a bit of subscribers in the past couple of, in the past week or so. It's been a nice little flurry of action on the channel, and we thank you guys for all that. So since you're not picking, I guess I'll pick. I don't know.
Don't follow us. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jim.
You're the worst. You're the worst. I'm out here fighting for my life, and you out here saying don't subscribe. What the hell's wrong with you?
We don't beg for followers on this show.
Who's begging? We're asking. It's not begging. Stop it. Anyway, the show's already off the rails, so let's just go back to. Oh, your buddy Rick says hi. Slackers, yeah, sure. I'm the hardest working man in radio, not named Robinson. All right. Only one of us here is a slacker, and hint, it's not me. I do want to go back to the ABC interview with President Trump about his 100 days and conducted by ABC News' Terry Moran, or as Donald Trump refers to him, I don't know her, because apparently he doesn't even know who he's sitting down in an interview with, which, by the way, we talk about on buffoonsweek.com, wrote a great blog post about it. Check it out later. But there was a lot of issues tackled in that interview. We talked about two of those issues on the morning show This Week in Dumbmocracy, one of them being the economy and one of them being illegal immigration, where Terry Moran doesn't know an immigration law from his elbow. And I wanted to get your thoughts real quick. Have you seen a lot of the interview?
I did see the interview, and that was Trump in his element. It was beautiful. I'm sure you have the clip where he says he doesn't trust anyone, including him, and that he wouldn't even finish the interview, possibly. Brilliant. That's my boy, DJT.
I like that part. I'm going to play two clips that was really stuck on the cutting room floor, because if I would have kept going in clips and analyzing it, it would have been a long video. So this is the discussion, I think, with Terry Moran concerning Pete Hegseth and Signalgate and all that. And Moran tried to get a little inside baseball on how Trump deals internally with issues like this. And Trump was not biting at all. It's a very short clip. Here it is.
With his wife on it, where he's discussing that attack in Yemen. There's another signal chat discussing the attack on Yemen. There's a reporter accidentally involved. You said the other day that you had a talk with the secretary. Did you take him to the woodshed?
I had a talk with him, and whatever I said, I probably wouldn't be inclined to tell you.
Damn right, man. None of your beeswax, Moran. Did he really think he was going to get an answer about how Trump runs his affairs in the White House?
I mean, Gene, can we be for real? Trump actually says this later in the interview. Who is this guy? He was lucky to get this interview. Moran, he's a nobody, right? This was his one shot at a claim to fame, and he failed miserably. Trump played him like a fucking fiddle.
I know that was your favorite moment about the whole I don't know her thing. The end of this clip is my favorite moment from this ABC News interview. And I'll point it out to you. I'll see if you agree with me.
But we had a good talk. He's a talented guy. He's young. He's smart, highly educated. And I think he's going to be a very good hopefully a great defense secretary, but he'll be a very good defense secretary.
You have 100% confidence in
I don't have 100% confidence in anything. Okay? Anything. Do I have 100%? It's a stupid question.
He's absolutely right. It is a stupid question. Does anybody in the world have 100% confidence in anything? Anything at all? Why would you try a stupid question like that with Donald Trump?
Well, I mean, whatever. 100% confidence, I get it. But where is the admiration for the president to do these sit-down interviews with a network like ABC? ABC has a long track record of being fake news. Where was Joe Biden during his presidency ever sitting with a hostile news network? Ever? Can you name one, Gene?
No, I can't, because he was protected and secreted and secured. Absolutely right.
So the secret is that ABC, NBC, CBS, even CNN and MSNBC love Donald Trump. They can say they hate him all they want. They love the man. When he comes on, they get ratings, right? And he's not afraid to go in and talk to these buffoons.
You're absolutely right. And you know what? Sean Spicer had a question for Caroline Leavitt, I guess, White House spokesperson to White House spokesperson, about this exact same topic. And I want to play this clip. Let me see if I can get this in here.
Last week, why does he sit down with people like Terry Moran of ABC or Jeffrey Goldberg of The Atlantic? What is the rationale behind that, rewarding people who have very vehemently expressed disdain for him personally?
Because the president is unafraid, and he is inspired by competition, and he likes to talk to people face to face. And I think that's one of his best attributes and qualities. We live in an incredibly divisive country, unfortunately, that has been really the result and consequence, frankly, of the fake news and the hoaxes and lies they have driven at this president for the better part of the last decade now. But the fact that we still have a president who has been a victim of these hoaxes, these lies, these smears by so many legacy media outlets and reporters, yet he's still willing to sit down with them, look them in the eye, look them face to face, and take them to task and share the truth with them and his perspective, I think is what the American people deserve in a president.
And that's basically what Ross Galloway just said, but he said it in the inverse because he was talking about how Joe Biden never did that. Donald Trump does nothing but that. He invites the competition because he knows that the competition and the controversy will generate news and buzz, and he'll get his message out by any means necessary, really.
Yeah, and where are the hard-hitting interviews, Gene, of Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, Hakeem Osama Jeffries? Like, where are the hard-hitting interviews of those people? They don't exist, right? They're all softball interviews if they ever get one, or they just report what the government, they're supposed to speak truth to power. They just are mouthpieces for the government. With Trump, they're always trying to get gotcha questions in on him. And he plays them like a fiddle. They're pathetic.
Oh, and we just saw an example of that with this headset question. You know, come on, Terry Moran. You got one shot here. I'm giving you the opportunity. And you ask a question about whether or not I have 100% Dude, I don't have 100% confidence that I'm going to lift my head off my pillow in the morning. I don't have 100% confidence in anything in life. I'm suspicious of everything. Galloway won't even tell me where he is. That's how suspicious he is. I mean,
what about the last Secretary of Defense, Lloyd Austin? Do we have 100% confidence in him? He went AWOL for like a week to get surgery and did not tell the president. Where was that interview? Right? Like, where was that question to Joe Biden? Do you still have 100% confidence in your Secretary of Defense who disappeared for over a week to get surgery, went under anesthesia, was unconscious, and didn't tell you? Do you still have confidence in him? Where was that question?
Well, maybe Peter Doocy was the closest to get to that, but the White House shut him down as, you know, how dare you even ask that? I'm 99% sure that's what it was. So, yeah, Trump does give opportunity to the media, and they continually fall into traps. Here's another example of that, and this goes into your comparison between the Biden administration and the Trump administration here. I think Terry Moran thinks he's asking a gotcha, but he's just playing himself here.
Reputation of the United States has gone down under your presidency.
No, I think it's gone way up, and I think we're a respected country again. We were laughed at all over the world. We had a president that couldn't walk up a flight of stairs, couldn't walk down a flight of stairs, couldn't walk across the stage without falling. We had a president that was grossly incompetent. You knew it, I knew it, and everybody knew it, but you guys didn't want to write it because you're fake news.
All right. Thank you.
And by the way, ABC is one of the worst. I have to be honest with you.
Thank you.
If Terry Moran could have backed his ass out of the Oval Office or whatever room they were in, my God, he would have done it with such speed that it was. Is there no self-awareness coming from the other side? Respectability of the nation and the presidency. Joe Biden was out for lunch for 4 years. He was the weekend at Bernie's president. Respectability. Come on, man.
There is no self-awareness. I mean, I know we don't have the clips prep because I didn't do any show prep and send them to you, but
right.
It's not just an ABC, right? Chuck Todd, who was the host of Meet the Press, he was also on the news this week saying that no one covered up for Joe Biden, and the people to blame for not covering the story of Joe Biden's cognitive decline were the Democrats themselves, not the media. I call bullshit, right? It was him, his satellite network of MSNBC. They all covered up. They were complicit. They were co-conspirators. The White House Correspondents' Dinner, which Trump did not go to, and the comedian that was scheduled to go there did not wind up performing. The keynote speaker basically said the media is to blame for not covering the story that Joe Biden was in mental decline. Now, he also said that, they didn't cover it because they didn't know somehow. Hello, anyone with fucking eyes saw that he was in mental decline, not from 2020 to 2024. They saw it while he was running from 2018 to 2020, right? While he was still a candidate talking about, I have hairy legs and little black kids touch my legs and they're hairy legs, right? He was in cognitive decline then. Everyone knew it, but the media refused to report on it. Even in the DOJ's report, right? I forgot the guy's name, but the attorney, the United States attorney.
Yeah, Robert Hur. The Hur report said, Joe Biden is an elderly man that a jury would find sympathetic with a failing memory, and he would not be convicted by any jury, so we're not going to charge him with classified documents. The same thing they charged Donald Trump for, right? Everyone knew this guy was a train wreck, and the media, who is supposed to speak truth to power, failed to do so. But now the media is doing things like this to Donald Trump. They're back to their old ways of acting in concert together. And the perfect example happened this week with news of the arrest of this Wisconsin judge, Hannah Dugan.
Lock her up.
I'm with you on that, and we're going to talk about that in a moment. I want to show you this clip. This was put together, I think, by Western Lensman on X. It's a compilation of clips all talking about the news of this arrest, and you would have sworn that they all talked to each other before going on air.
With the escalation in the president's crackdown on illegal immigration.
Today's dramatic escalation in the Trump administration's conflict with judges.
The Trump administration signaling a major escalation in its deportation efforts.
Today, an escalation in the Trump administration's battle with the judiciary.
Tensions between local and federal authorities over President Trump's immigration crackdown escalated today.
We begin this hour with a major escalation of the Trump administration's crackdown on immigration.
We begin with what appears to be a major escalation in the Trump administration's deportation efforts.
And what is a major escalation in the battle here in D.C. over immigration and deportation.
This feels like an insane and reckless escalation from the Trump administration arresting a judge. I will tell you, you are not alone.
And it goes on and on and on and on.
Insane, Gene. Insane.
Yeah, it's absolutely. Listen, there's going to be a lot of things on this show that we're going to be talking about here that can fall within that theme of insanity coming from the left. So this story about Hannah Dugan, have you seen anything about it? Let me let you say what you're saying first, then we'll go on to that.
Yeah, so what happened to the Democrats' mantra of no one is above the law, right? This judge allowed an illegal immigrant to sneak out the back door of a courtroom while ICE was waiting at the front door, because Wisconsin does not allow ICE to make arrests in the confines of a courthouse. So she snuck him out through the back door in violation of federal law. So that is a felony, by the way. She's suspended by the Wisconsin Supreme Court from practicing until this gets adjudicated. So what happened to no one's above the law?
It goes further than that. You only told half the story there, Galloway. I'm surprised at you. After this illegal immigrant, this gentleman his last name is Flores Ruiz, who, by the way, was appearing in court on a misdemeanor domestic abuse charge and had already been deported and had returned to the country. When he was out of the courthouse, he led a foot chase with DEA and FBI agents on the street until they eventually caught him and apprehended him. But think about how dangerous that is to the public. This judge let someone who the state of Wisconsin is looking to prosecute, denied the state of Wisconsin the opportunity to go through the procedures to prosecute him, secreted him out the building, smuggled him out of the building, and then exposed the public to a dangerous situation, this foot chase, where someone else could have been harmed, injured, God forbid, killed. Of course there should be charges here. This is more than enough probable cause for these charges. I tried to find one honest reporter out there that would be talking about the severity and the seriousness of these charges. I happened to find one, and it was on CNN of all places. It was, I believe it was Ellie Honig who said this. I'm going to see if I can pull the clip out right here.
complaint, let's strip the politics out of it. This is a crime. If they can prove what happened here, it is a crime. This judge, let's strip the Trump of it all out. Let's strip the immigration of it all out. Let's say law enforcement shows up at a building with an arrest warrant. They're looking for person A. Person B then says, hey, there's a secret escape door out back. I'm going to show you the way, and then ushers that person out the back door. That is textbook obstruction.
Textbook obstruction. Yet all these maniacs are out there in the streets claiming that this is persecution of this judge, and how dare there be this escalation as the media is feeding to them out there. It's sick, frankly. This is, as Ellie Honig said, a textbook classic case that falls squarely within this statute.
And maybe you, Gene, as a barista or lawyer,
I make a hell of a cup of coffee.
Can explain this to us. He was appearing before a state judge he was accused of a state crime, but he's also here illegally. So Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, federal government, was looking for him. Can you explain what his due process rights are and how he was denied any, if so?
I don't think the issue here is due process. So let's talk. If anything,
that's what the Democrats' mantra is currently. Well, everybody is entitled to due process under the law. Now, if you get charged with a crime, Gene, and you go to court,
let's turn this on its head.
You're entitled to the same due process rights for a criminal charge as you are to an immigration violation.
Listen, the victim of due process here is the state of Wisconsin. They had a court hearing. They had a court hearing scheduled where they were looking for justice on behalf of a domestic abuse victim, allegedly. That victim was in the courthouse awaiting this hearing, and the judge denied due process to that victim and to the state of Wisconsin. As to this guy, Flores Ruiz, and what due process he may have, there's actually multiple ways that you can deport someone from the country. I cover this on this morning show as well when talking about Terry Moran and his insane interpretation of the law. You can go through a judicial process and have a hearing, but the law also provides, I should say, alternative expedited means of deportation processes, administrative hearings, expedited hearings, and restatement of deportation hearings. I believe the restatement of deportation hearing would apply to Mr. Flores Ruiz because he's already been deported once already. He's found back here again. They restate the deportation, add more to it, and they kick his ass out again. That's the way this would be handled. That's the due process there. But let me refocus again. The people that were deprived due process was his alleged victim of violence and the state of Wisconsin looking to hold him accountable for that alleged violence.
And Gene, real quick, clarify, who were they denied due process by?
The judge.
The judge, also known as a Democrat judge. Don't let that slip through, because the media would like to say the judicial branch, judges. No. They're activist Democrats, leftists, hardcore communist socialists. That's what they are, right?
Yeah.
No judge who reads the plain text of the law would sneak an illegal immigrant, criminal offender out the back door of the courtroom. That is a Democrat activist judge, period.
Right, who is not acting as a judge whatsoever, who's acting in their own personal capacity to break the law. And the most disturbing thing about all this is that the governor, Tony Evers, now has put out a memo to state employees and to people who work in the courts, telling them that they don't have to cooperate with ICE anymore, almost to the point, skating that line of federal obstruction.
Yeah, well,
this is not rational. This is just not rational.
Gene, ICE is the federal government, right? So who has jurisdiction over kidnapping? Kidnapping is a federal crime. Which agency in our government has total jurisdiction over kidnapping charges and bank robberies? The FBI, federal government. So would it be okay for all of you listening and watching tonight for state governments to say, you know what? We're not going to cooperate with the federal government if someone in our state is charged with kidnapping or bank robbery, right? That would be insane. No one would say that's a good idea. So why is it okay for states to not cooperate with the federal government when it comes to immigration violations? It's not okay, right? These states should absolutely be defunded. No federal grants for anything, including Homeland Security and education. Sorry, not sorry. Don't give them any money.
And that will end up with an entire set of lawsuits that then will tie up the actions of the federal government and grind them to a halt. And that's their MO. They want to grind the federal government to a halt because that will stymie, stall, and stop the Trump administration's goals.
You're right, Gene. And that is why we are blessed that Donald Trump has announced he's probably running again in 2028. So buckle up, Democrats. You're about to get 12 years of this motherfucker because you can't stand him.
How in
Buckle
the
up,
world?
losers.
How in the world did we start with joking about that late last year, and now the joke's becoming real early on this year?
Love it.
How did we get here? How did we get here? I'll tell you how we got here. We got here because we got a bunch of buffoons in government who care more about scoring political points than they do about the administration of actual government services, government operations. It's so sad. It's almost you gotta cry about it.
Don't cry.
I think we have. I go ahead. Get the last thought. Get the last thought.
No, don't cry. The first 100 days was spectacular. We got another 1,300-ish days to go. It's gonna get better, dude. It's gonna get so much better.
Listen, it's already fun for us. We got so much content. We don't know what to do with it. We're just about at halftime here on this here program. I'm Gene. He's Ross. We are Behind Enemy Lines, and I hope that while you're here, you're hitting that thumbs up button, you're liking, you're sharing the show with your friends, you're subscribing to the channel, even though Ross says that you shouldn't subscribe to the channel.
Don't.
But while you're doing all that, you can also check out buffoonoftheweek.com. It's our official website. Content is just flowing on there. There's so much good stuff going on at buffoonoftheweek.com. You know what? I just want to take a quick look and I want to show you guys what buffoonoftheweek.com looks like when it's cooking here. There's almost near daily content going up at this point. I say that we're doing 3 to 4 articles a week, 3 to 4 posts a week. But look at this thing. We got the story about the judge that we're talking about, the ABC interview, that whole Buffoonology 101 thing going on that we like to talk about.
A rigged election, yes, we saw
It's
it.
not a rigged election. Stop your nonsense. Look, a whole bunch of great stories on there that you can go through at buffoonoftheweek.com. But the fun doesn't end there. You can also support us by picking up some merch at shop.buffoonoftheweek.com. Ross, I got to run an idea by you for a shirt that I think you might like. I want to do a short run of shirts. It's just a very simple message. Cuomo for jail. He's got the perfect logo for it. We could fill it in nicely. It won't cost us a lot of money to put together. And we put it out there. What do you think?
I like Cuomo for jail, but I like Cuomo's original shirt that he was wearing once upon a time when his father was running. Vote for Cuomo, not the...
Oh, Jesus.
Yes, that was a better shirt.
That was a thing back then, wasn't it?
And it was a thing, and Andrew was the proponent of it. And I support that. Maybe we tweak it. Don't vote for Cuomo. Vote for the...
Maybe we'll tweak it.
Adams.
Okay. And there's a whole lot of them out there.
It fits, Gene. It fits.
Good Lord. Okay, I'm sorry I brought it up. Anyways, despite that conversations, I hope you like, share, and subscribe and all that fun stuff. Pal. Oh, I took the whole banner down. What am I doing? I want to revisit a conversation we had. I don't know if it was last week or the week before, but do you remember our conversation about that pissant David Hogg?
My friend, yes.
Yes, your friend, your buddy, your pal, your one and only. The walls are closing in on David Hogg on many different fronts. Let's just revisit what news we talked about the last time we talked about this buffoon, and at the end of this clip, there'll be another clip from the head of the DNC, the chair that's above David Hogg, talking about his efforts. If you remember, he was talking about funding candidates that would go up against certain incumbents. And this was the story, if you remember.
The Democratic Party wanted a disruptor. They got him when they put David Hogg in as the vice chair of the DNC. And he is now rolling out a plan that some of those people who wanted him to have this role might be second-guessing it because it might cost them their jobs. David Hogg wants to make sure that the Democrats have new blood and that there aren't people who just stay in Congress as incumbents for far too long.
He wants to primary a lot of these incumbents, especially the older ones who have been in Congress for a long time.
And
the party has always taken kind of a neutrality stand on these incumbents. David is bucking that system.
And there are some big names who may end up getting primaried because of it.
Let me be unequivocal. No DNC officer should ever attempt to influence the outcome of a primary election, whether on behalf of an incumbent or a challenger. If you want to challenge incumbents, you're more than free to do that, but just not as an officer of the DNC, because our job is to be neutral arbiters. We can't be both the referee and also the player at the same time.
All of a sudden, the DNC is neutral. All of a sudden, they're not rigging superdelegates. And all of a sudden, they're not stopping insurgents within the party from doing things like Bernie Sanders back in 2016 or Bernie Sanders back in 2020 when there was some headway coming from the left. That being said, if you were the head of a party like Ken Martin and David Hogg is using your donor rolls to raise money for his organization. And by the way, I think it's called the We Deserve PAC. Talk about entitlement culture run amok. But let's say that he's using your donor rolls to raise millions for his own PAC. Do you boot him? Do you kick him out? What do you do here?
So you beat me in the past on a prediction. So I'd like to challenge you again, Gene. In the spirit of David Hogg, AOC versus Chuck Schumer. Who does he support and who wins if she decides to primary him?
Oh, it's AOC all the way.
You think so? I think so too.
Yeah.
So my prediction for a while now has been old white Jewish men have no place in the Democratic Party. Well, that's my view.
Let me steal a phrase from Hollywood. What? Old white and pale is stale. Is the phrase that they've been using out there.
So do you think Hogg supports AOC to topple Schumer and set the stage?
He does so without using his name. That's how he does it. He has his organizations, which he'll disclaim any control over, funneling money. And there's so much dark money out there in Democrat politics that he'll be able to get away with that. Yes, I think he does. Publicly, who knows? But I think he does, yeah. What do you think?
Too. I think that Chuck Schumer is toast. He's on his apology tour for not shutting down the government and caving into the AOC Bernie Sanders wing. Spoiler alert, people, not only does Chuck Schumer face an uphill battle, Bernie Sanders is also going to be on the ropes. Trust me when I tell you, Bernie Sanders is also an old, white, Jewish dude. They don't have much time for them. AOC is using him currently. Bernie, his time is ticking. Plus, he's fucking 80-something years old, right?
Yeah, and not the good side of 80, not the good side. But maybe that's why Bernie Sanders was on this Stop Oligarchy tour with AOC. Is it a case of AOC riding Bernie's coattails or Bernie riding hers at this point?
I think it's both. And I think Democrats, no offense to the Democrats watching, because I know there's a few of you on here. Most of
you lurkers.
Most of you have no idea what oligarchy means. Republicans too, right? But Republicans aren't riding the oligarchy bandwagon. Democrats currently are, right? If you're in the chat and you're a Democrat, tell us what oligarchy is. You can Google it and give us the AI answer, but just do it, right? Because that is a loser of an issue. Oligarchy, I'll tell you what it means. You can look it up. It means a small group of rich people basically running the government, right? You tell me when in any government's history that wasn't the case. From the founding of our country to Barack Obama to Donald Trump to Joe Biden, multimillionaire, to Bernie Sanders and AOC, a small group of rich people who take first class or private jets to their events running the government, right? Oligarchy. Fight it all you want. That is life.
You know, Galloway, I don't know why you're lying to the people like this. We are on the fast track to oligarchy. I mean, Bernie has been telling us that we are rapidly heading towards oligarchy for like a generation and a half now.
Of ours is moving very rapidly in the direction of oligarchy. The United States of America today is increasingly becoming an oligarchy. More and more moving toward an oligarchy. We are moving in the direction of oligarchy. We will move even more rapidly in the direction of an oligarchy. This great country is evolving into an oligarchic society. It is called oligarchy, and that is the system we are rapidly moving toward. This is a budget that moves our country rapidly into the direction of oligarchy. A handful of billionaires are moving this entire planet toward an oligarchic society.
Start off with the bad news, which is pretty bad, and that is that under Donald Trump, this country is hurtling rapidly toward oligarchy.
And Bernie Sanders himself has been rapidly moving towards oligarchy. He started off in like a broke down car, and now he's moved up into first class flights. So talk about someone rapidly moving towards oligarchy. Bernie Sanders, he's looking more oligarchic year by year.
By the way, hat tip to Gene for having those clips on the ready. He had no idea where this show was going, and he has them at the ready. Also, Bernie Sanders, the clip that was missing there was back in 2015, Bernie Sanders ran for president. He ran in a primary against Hillary Clinton, and his old line used to be millionaires and billionaires. You notice he stopped saying millionaires. He only says billionaires now. Why? Because Bernie Sanders is a millionaire. So he stopped saying it. Now, how did Bernie Sanders and Nancy Pelosi and Joe Biden become millionaires? I don't know. I think it's worth the DOJ looking into, though. They earn salary of somewhere in the six-figure range of $100,000 to $200,000 a year. For the president, maybe $400,000 a year. How did they become millionaires, Gene? How did the senator become a millionaire?
Well, take it from me as an author of an award-winning Amazon best-selling book, having sold dozens of books. It was from becoming an author. It might have been from an advance, maybe from an advance of that. Maybe, you pay money up front and you fill the rest of it in later. But
Gene's book literally went aluminum. It was great.
Oh, I wish it went aluminum. It went lint. It went lint. But okay, you know what? I'm not going to take this abuse. My book was an Amazon #1 new release for a week. All right, step off. That's how good my book was doing. All right, it was doing.
I love it, Gene. You wrote a book. I can't even write a sentence, so you're good.
Well, thank you very much, pal. Want to focus back on David Hogg for a second, though, because the battle I have been dreaming about happened. In one corner, DNC vice chair turning on his own party, David Hogg. In the other corner, the crypt keeper himself, James Carville.
I was hoping you had this.
I found a couple of clips from, I think it's from a show called The Tara Palmieri Show, and I put a couple of them together. I encourage you guys, and I'll put it into the chat, watch the whole thing, because at the end, they end up kind of agreeing with each other or whatever. But oh my God, the unintentional hilarity of some of these clips. I'm going to let this roll without talking until we get to the end. Take a look.
Members of the DNC should sue him for doing this since David is a member of the party leadership. He is the vice chairman.
I think he's a vice chair.
Yeah, he's vice chair.
Let me be very specific. I think it is abominable that an official of a political party who is being paid or supported by that political party to go out and raise money to defeat members of the same party. I think that's a jackassery of the highest level.
James, can you tell me
if you want to beat Republicans, of which of course lefties never do, they never even run against them. That's one thing. I'm not into beating Democrats. I'm into beating Republicans. And I just will tell you right to your face, I think it's abominable that you have anything to do with the DNC and you're going to go and raise $20 million to beat other Democrats. I called on Joe Biden to drop out of the race in 2022. Where were you? Where was the young cool generation coming? Did they step in there and say something? I spoke out against the horrific language of identity politics. Where was everybody else? I said we should have a contested convention. No one else came together, other than President Obama, who was trying to call people on a day that President Biden dropped out. So if I'm just saying, I want to beat Republicans. I don't want to beat Democrats.
What is your plan to deal with our abominable approval rating?
Win elections.
Back the fuck up, James. Oh, it's like a combination of Gollum and the Crypt Keeper from Tales from the Crypt coming at you.
So
I have a heart condition.
For those of you who don't buy into like conspiracy theories and all that other stuff, James Carville is living proof of reptilians. Will you look at that?
Win elections.
Yes, exactly. Look at him, bro. That is a reptilian, right? That is the guy on the plane that woman said, that motherfucker is not real. Like, that's the kind of guy he is. He's also living in the past. He's like 100 years old too. I give him that. God bless him. He is from the Clinton era, the Bill Clinton era, not the Hillary Clinton era, right? The Bill Clinton moderate Democrat era. Those Democrats don't exist anymore. As a matter of fact, guys like Hogg, who is the vice chair of the current DNC, don't want those guys to exist anymore. That's why they're spiraling into a death spiral, and hopefully we'll never win another election again. They're all into transgender. They're all into taxing Americans, but not putting taxes on foreign corporations, aka tariffs, right? That's what the modern Democratic Party is, and they're going to go down.
And they might cannibalize David Hogg in the process. I don't know if you saw this, pal, but there's a story out there that I found in my research from our old friend Dave Weigel, who attended a hot tub party or two back in our day. And he wrote this piece for Semaphore. I don't normally read Semaphore. I don't know what Semaphore is, but Dave Weigel is writing for them. Native American woman gets a chance to topple Hogg at DNC. We covered the DNC leadership forum back in February, where Hogg ultimately won his election at this gathering of Democrats. But a candidate who failed to win a leadership role, who ran against Hogg and lost, is now challenging that defeat against Hogg. And let's get into this right now. The DNC Credentials Committee will meet virtually on May 12th to consider the challenge of Callan Free, a Native American attorney and party activist who lost a vice chair spot to Hogg at the February 1st meeting. In her complaint, shared with Semaphore and Mr. Weigel, Free argued that she lost a fatally flawed election that violated the DNC charter and discriminated against 3 women of color candidates and asked for 2 new vice chair elections. In February, after several rounds of voting, the race came down to 5 candidates. A woman named Kenyatta, David Hogg, Callan Free, and 2 other women. Kenyatta and Hogg claimed the top spots. by aggregating. Oh, geez, semaphore. I don't want to subscribe to you. Free argues by aggregating votes across ballots and failing to distinguish between gender categories in a meaningful way, the DNC's process violated its own charter and bylaws, undermining both fairness and gender diversity. You got to jump in at that point, pal. Come on.
Well, what I'm thinking, Gene, is it takes a lot of balls for that person to just guess what David Hogg's gender is. I personally can't guess, right? Hogg is, what do they call it? Non-binary at best, right? He's not manly. He definitely doesn't have any testosterone in him. So why are we guessing that he's a man, right? Does he have outreach to the male voter? Does he turn you on, Gene? Does that make you want to vote for the Democrats?
Oh,
no. And if you think what I'm saying is absurd, it fucking is absurd. Look at what the DNC is putting out. Look what members of that party are putting out. That they didn't have gender neutrality or enough representation from women, right? Okay, so what is a woman? Is in that article you posted, Gene, does it describe what the definition of a woman actually is?
Oh, I don't even know if the DNC charter and bylaws go even that far. But I want to just talk about what David Hogg's attorney said. Attorneys for Hogg's argued in a response to the committee earlier this month that the election was conducted in compliance with the rules in place at the time, and that it's inappropriate to try to revise those rules of decisions after the fact through a credentials challenge. That racist, sexist motherfucker David Hogg is trying to disenfranchise and repress the voice of this Native American attorney. How dare he? Is this not 2025? Do we not listen to women these days? And David Hogg is out here saying we got to get rid of all these incumbents and everything. He's destroying the party from within, not only going after the old white guys, but trying to repress the voices of these young women who are diverse in their thought and in their personage. How dare he?
David Hogg is one woman of color away, discriminating against one more woman of color away from being Gene Berardelli. He's getting close. He's not at Gene levels yet, but he's damn close.
You know,
spoiler alert, on Friday's show, I'm going to predict right now, Gene is nominating another woman of color for Buffoon of the Week. There you go.
You'll have to tune into Buffoonology 101 to find out if Galloway is right about that. You know, we went from a show that didn't have a theme to having a show that really actually does have a theme. We've looked at all the aspects of the left in the first 100 days of Trump that shows that this party is freaky Lou, wackadoo, cuckoo bananas. Within, without the party, media angle, we've hit it all. Well, almost all. Because there's another clip I want to show you, pal. And I'm going to put a little advisory for our people watching out there. This video does depict scenes of violence, actual violence occurring, political violence occurring. So use your discretion in viewing for the next, minute and 15 seconds.
Don't be a bitch. Watch it.
And this is a video that came from, I believe this Jack Posobiec. He is a conservative journalist. He's not afraid to mix it up with people and to get stories and to show the political realities that are out there in these streets. And Posobiec was at a rally that was being led by Congressman Raskin. And he goes to ask a question. And was the question antagonistic given the makeup of the crowd? Yeah, sure. But no one would have predicted, at least I wouldn't have, that this would have been the result. And I'm going to play it, Galloway, without any sort of further input, I should say, from both of us.
The right to organize unions. Yeah. For redress agreements. We're going to defend the right to assemble. Yeah. We know with Dr. King that the greatness of America is the right to protest for what is right. Against lawbreakers who take office. And that's where we are today. I'll leave you with my friends with the words of the great Marylander Frederick Douglass.
Jamie, why did you lose the popular vote? Why did you lose every single swing state? Why did you lose? Why? Let me talk. Let me talk. Let me talk. It's not fake. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. They're assaulting me, you motherfucker. Why'd you leave? Can I get my phone? No. Back up. Back up.
Now, amidst all that, did you hear Jamie Raskin ask for people to calm down, to proceed peacefully and patriotically? Or did you see Jamie Raskin pumping his fist forward, chanting USA, USA towards Jack Posobiec, prompting and, dare I say, urging this crowd on?
Yeah. So, again, for the Democrats that are watching, because I know some of you do, where is the tolerant left? Where are they? They're burning down Teslas. There's never an example. You can't show me one. I challenge anyone to lurk in the comments or hit Gene on his X account.
Don't
show me an example.
Hit Gene.
Well, you're the.
What did I just show?
Just show us, though. Show us an example of the right shutting down free speech using physical violence. Show it. You can show January 6th. Show it over and over again, okay? There is Antifa there. The truth hopefully will come out one day. But show me any other example, right? The left consistently uses physical force and violence, whether it's Tesla dealerships, whether it's college campuses where free speech is constantly shut down whenever someone right of center goes to speak there. Show me when that happens, when a left of center speaker ever speaks anywhere. College campus, soapbox, public square, anywhere. It never happens, right? The left constantly pushes violence, including Democratic lawmakers. Don't let them pump gasoline at a gas station. Get in their face. Don't let them eat at a restaurant, right? They say that all the time. Where is the left? Remember the mantra, Gene, of the left? It used to be, I might not agree with what you have to say, but I will defend to the death your right to say it. Where are those people? They're not on the left. They're on the right now.
Yeah, and this is what galls me the most. Where was the media for this sort of rally, right? That first and foremost, where was the media for it? Because when the media is there for a protest or a rally, you know what they see in those instances? They don't see what we just saw from Jack Posobiec. We see, and I'm going to share the screen right now here. We see, where's the right tab? Gotta find the right tab here.
Yeah, please, God willing.
Here it is. We see this, what we referred to earlier. We see nice, peaceful, sitting down in the sun, talking for a lot of hours. That's what they show. The little kid with his face in his hand. That's what they show. But when there's even a single person challenging a viewpoint, you get what you just saw at that rally being led by a Democratic congressman. That, to me, shows not only the hypocrisy of the left, but it shows the danger that Galloway was just talking about here. Everyone thinks that this is kumbaya, we're all together, diversity is our strength in all this. But diversity of thought pops up at one of these rallies, and what happens to you is what happened to Posobiec.
I wish we would have had more of that sit-in, because that was also pathetic. That was Cory Booker and Hakeem Jeffries. I'm not really sure what they were trying to prove there with the sit-in. Okay, yeah, it was non-violent. But Hakeem Jeffries said there were two parties in this country. I don't know if you caught any of that, Gene. The minority leader in the House of Representatives, Democrat, said there are two parties in this country currently. Democrats and traitors. So and you know became famous? General Grant said that during the
Yes.
Civil War. So he's calling us basically Confederates, rebels, right? We are traitors to the country. It's only Democrats and traitors. Okay, dude. First of all, bring it the fuck on, right? Like, I wish Democrats, the gun control nuts of the left, would bring it on. I know I'm like tapping dangerously towards getting us banned from YouTube, but bring it on, dude. One party believes in the Second Amendment, one party don't. Good luck with that.
You know what? I know that I didn't download the clip for it, but I can share it out from its source. Here is, tell me if this is the right clip of what I saw here, pal. Let's maximize this for everyone's viewing. Oh, no, that's not maximized. There it is. Tell me if this is what you're referring to. Let me know if you hear it.
Time for us to put principles over party. Principles over party. It reminds me, I think that's a powerful moment for us. Reminds me of a letter that Ulysses Grant was said to have sent at the start of the Civil War. Of course, the great general who subsequently became president.
Republican.
And at that moment of great turmoil in the country literally tearing itself apart, Grant wrote that whatever my prior political positions have been, my prior opinions have been up until this point, I have but only one objective now. And Grant then said, we have a government and laws and a flag, and they must all be sustained. Government, laws, and a flag, and they must all be sustained. And then he said something even deeper than that, because at that time in American history, there were multiple parties. We're in a two-party system right now, but there were multiple parties. And what Grant said is, there are but two parties in America right now, patriots and traitors.
There it is. That's what you were saying, right?
Yeah, exactly. He's you notice the snake that he is. By the way, he's from New York.
Yep.
You notice the snake that he is. There were more than two parties back then. Okay, yeah, there were. But which party was the Confederacy? Do you know? It was the
Confederacy were Democrats, weren't
Democrats. Which party was Ulysses S. Grant and Abraham Lincoln members of? The Republican Party.
Yeah,
so
I believe so. Yes.
Yes. So he's full of shit, right? When he says patriots and traitors, he's actually talking about the Democratic Party, and not much has changed since then. They were the party of slavery, the Democrats. They were the party of segregation and Jim Crow, the Democrats, and they are currently the party of DEI, transgenderism, and every other racial and sexual orientation division you could think of. That is the Democratic Party. It always has and always will be, right? So he's full of shit. Hakeem Jeffries.
Yeah.
From New York, Democrat.
I would love to walk up to Hakeem Jeffries and say, which am I? I want him to call me to my face a traitor. I would love for him to do that to me.
I must have missed Hakeem Jeffries in the army formations that I once stood in. The great patriot that he is. Not that he had to be in the military, but to call more than half of the country, since Donald Trump did win the popular vote, traitors, that's a pretty stark statement there, right? Hakeem Jeffries, you're a piece of shit. How about that?
Absolutely. You know what? I think it's right around that time, pal. It is final thought time.
Hakeem.
Yeah, listen.
Don't get me riled up, bro.
I know you're riled up, and I think this is the perfect time for you to go off on a rant if you want to, and give us this this final thought of yours and see what you got.
My final thought is not going to be really a rant. It's going to be more of the same of what I've been talking about for the last few shows. Buckle up, guys. Like, the economy is not that bad. This is not 2008 when there was a housing bubble and it crashed. This is not the Great Recession under Ronald Reagan that he inherited from Jimmy Carter. This is not the Great Depression, right? We're talking about some tariffs. Trump said it himself today, and it was about time he said it, that China will likely eat the cost of those tariffs. I've said this before. If China has a 90%, let me just rewind for a second, Gene. I'm not going to go long, I promise.
Take as much time as you want.
Tariffs are taxes not on the American people. That's what the Democrats and the media, one and the same, are telling you people. That tariffs are a direct tax on the American people. That's not true. Tariffs are taxes on foreign corporations, right? The Democrats never have a problem taxing American corporations. Donald Trump is saying if a foreign country taxes our corporations through tariffs to send goods to their country, he is going to tax them at 1/2 the rate, 50% of what they're charging us. So if China charges us 70%, he's going to charge them 35%. With China, it's a little higher. And the reason why I mentioned China to begin with is because China has a 90+% profit margin. Every stupid thing you people buy on Amazon, China is profiting 90+% on that product. So if you tariff them, they're going to eat that tariff. And that's what Donald Trump said today. They're not going to raise the price by 75%, because guess what happens if they do? An American company will spring up and make that same product for the same price or less, right? So they're either going to lower their taxes on our companies that sell things there, or they're going to eat the cost on their 90% profit margin. Why can't American companies make 90% profit margins here? Because we have labor laws. Your iPhone in your pocket, idiots, was made by slave labor. Someone earning $1 a day built your iPhone. We can't build iPhones here because you have to pay someone $25 an hour to make it. So the only way to compete with slave labor is to charge them a fucking tariff. And if they don't want to pay the tariff, or if they do pay it, they're not going to raise their iPhone by 75% because they won't be able to sell it here. They're going to eat that cost and still undercut American companies. Okay? So slow down. I guarantee all of you, don't sell your 401ks and your stock. A year from now, we're going up 20%. I am not a financial analyst. I'm not giving you financial information here. I'm giving you the legal disclaimer. However, do not sell your fucking stocks, morons. Hold on. You're holding Bitcoin, which is fairy dust. Hold on to American companies, the S&P, the Dow Jones. You will make money in a year from now. Gene, that's it. I'm sorry.
Don't be sorry. You know I love the rants. Rants equal ratings, man. Rants equal ratings. My final thought, I was going to reinforce everything that we've been talking about here, the many different faces of the left, all of them uglier than the next. I was going to go about talking about the hypocrisy and all the things that we always reinforce here on the show. I'm not going to do that. Instead, I'm choosing to focus on the good. And the good for me today was the confirmation of my nephew, Marcos Antonio Dominic. And I choose to focus on what I saw in my church today and the literally hundreds of people that showed up for this ceremony. And I got a chance to speak to the bishop in the area, and just that feeling I want to hold on to. Because to me, that feeling is America, the feeling of community, feeling of family, the feeling of tradition, and the coming together of all people in a common goal. There is no longer that feeling, as Galloway pointed out with that clip, of those pricks on the steps, and that's what I'm going to call them. They want to talk about patriots versus traitors. I want to talk about unification behind a strong message, and that message should be American prosperity and American excellence. I don't know why these Democrats don't want to get on board with that. I don't know why they fight fraud and abuse and corruption and rooting that out of the government. I don't know why they choose to go to El Salvador to try to free a reputed member of an MS-13 gang. Oh, wait, I do know why they do that. It's because these sons of bitches do that for their own self-aggrandizement, for their own perks, their own benefits. And what am I talking about? Exclusive. Democrats enjoyed luxury resort comforts while protesting deportation of alleged MS-13 gangbanger. Those 4 morons that we talked about last week, they were put up in the best accommodations in the country there, while this guy deservedly was rotting in a prison in that same country. The San Salvador hotels boasted rooms with scenic views of the capital city's landscape and an outdoor terrace where guests can enjoy margaritas and dine on local culinary treats, including made-to-order pupusas. I don't even know what that is. Fine. They shouldn't be getting them. Bottom line here. The hotel is described as providing a tranquil retreat for those seeking comfort and convenience, according to Hotels.com, and Google rates the property as a 5-star hotel. That's the story with Democrats. It's the hypocrisy, and it's everything that I didn't see today in my own community. And I'm just so thankful that I saw that in my own community amongst a very diverse group, and that reinforced my belief in what is right and true and why I do what I do here on this channel and what I do in my life as well. And that's my final thought.
Little known fact, Gene was the founding member of MS-12, the predecessor to MS-13. We're going to let that go. You shouldn't have been deported. I'm glad you're here, Gene.
It was MS-12 and a half. You fell just short. All right, that's it for us here with all this happy horse shit. I want to thank you guys for hanging out with us tonight and listening to all that we had to talk about here. I'm glad I'm here with my buddy Ross Galloway. The next time you'll see us will be on Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern Time, as we go head-to-head once again at Buffoonology 101, picking the Buffoon of the Week. Will I go 3-0? And will the winning streak continue with the picks coming forward? We shall see on Friday. This is your time now to say that it's all rigged, even though it's not. He's just writing shit down for later. All right, folks.
Down, Gene. Clearly rigged, but we'll talk about it later.
All right, we'll talk about it later, and we hope you guys join us for that. But for now, we're shutting this sucker down. Thanks for tuning in to Behind Enemy Lines. Gene Berardelli, Ross Galloway, we are out of here. Now play our motherfucking anthem.
We're not allowed, so not without electro.
Go fuck yourself. Is that clear?
Don't let them have sway. Conservative battalions walking them out, marching through the streets while the buffoons all shout. Move in the shadows, flag on my chest, repping my clan, putting faith to the test. Cause left plays blue behind enemy lines, fighting for the truth, feels like wartime. Don't back down, keep it rugged and raw, cool in the chaos, but loud in the roar. But loud in the war. Thunder, arm in advance, march to the anthem, this is our chance. If I ever stare with a smirk and a gaze, holding down the fort in this Democrat cage. Whispers in the dark, strategies unfold, allies unseen, but bonds remain bold. Commitment to the cause in the heart of the storms, in the name of freedom we're breaking the norm. Cause let's stay blue behind enemy lines, fighting for the truth, feels like wartime. Don't back down, keep it rugged and raw. Cool in the chaos, but loud in this war. But loud in this war. Let's make moves behind enemy lines, fighting for the truth, feels like wartime. Don't back down, keep it rugged and raw. Cool in the chaos, but loud.